Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to today's all training call. We got a full group of us today, so we got a fun-filled pack stream with lots of topics and lots of conversation coming at you. So, hello to everybody from our private label people team. Robert, Emily, Noel.
How you guys doing, Mr. Esso? Are you good, sir?
I'm well. I appreciate it. Doing good. We coming off of the event, we were right back at it. Lots of moving around. I know Noel, he had a nice evening in the airport in Chicago, and then he was able to dig right back into it. I'm not sure if he knows what day it is, but I know he's on time. So well done, Noel.
Thank you. I have no idea where I am, but I'm here.
Doing great. How about yourself, Emily? How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. I am so excited for today's stream because we get to talk about something that was really impactful for the four of us that are here on the all training team, our all training stream from the team, but also for our partners that are attending, whether you are joining us live or the replay. We have some really incredible insights from our event to be able to share with you because we don't want to keep it all to ourselves. We want to make sure that we are sharing the love with all of you.
That's right. And so make sure everyone's saying hello in the chat. And, of course, Emily will help us with that. That's not always my strong point. I like to focus in on what we're doing. But today we're going to talk about, today about the events. We're going to go over some of the winners, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes, I am also equally excited for that. I love giving things away. I think it's definitely something that we've adopted, right? Since working with Robert, we love giving things away for free. And we also want to make sure that we celebrate the individuals who came to the event and took the time to share their stories about what it was like attending our, first live Northern American event and a Germany event in tandem in the same weekend. We had some really great experiences, some great stories, and also again, some really great takeaways that we're excited to be sharing on the all training stream.
Now, one of the things that we did during this event was it took 3 of us to create this event here in the United States. And we left, I don't know if it was we left Robert all by himself, but we have a couple inside jokes about all that. But Robert, how did your event go in Germany, going solo and fielding the entirety of it?
Yeah, well, as you say, there's a few inside jokes flying around, which I'm sure we'll keep continuing for a little while yet. We do like to get a good amount of juice out of an inside joke, lemon, so to speak. But also, I was going to make a bit of a comment in terms of it was great, I think, for people in North America. They got to be able to spend time with 3 people, which the Europeans didn't get. They drew not just a short straw in terms of numbers, but also in terms of personality. They had to just put up with me, myself, and Irene. That was the 3 people at the European event. So they definitely drew the short straw there. But from my perspective, I thought it was absolutely fantastic from a number of different perspectives. Certainly one is there's no match for sitting in person, right? I love technology in terms of, Google Meets, online video conferences, the technology that's out there to be able to chat, ask questions, share screens, all that stuff, right? The technology is absolutely brilliant, and I'm not hating on the technology, but there is absolutely no substitute for sitting down, taking some time to dive into each person's business. And I think too, the deliberateness that we do whenever it is in person, for example, taking the time off work, making the flight, booking the flight, making the hotel, doing all that. There's a very deliberate action, which then puts you into a very different perspective and a very different scenario to a well, I'm driving that day, I'll just put it on my phone as I'm driving, or I'll pay it a bit of lip service while I'm doing something else in the house, or even, you know, if it's over a number of days, if you were to do an online style of workshop or work group over a number of days, people don't take the time off work, and they should, right? They should treat it the same way. But like I say, no substitute for being in person. And I do trust that everybody at the European event got as much out of it as I certainly did. And to reference what Emily was talking about earlier on this week, of, you know, what she got to learn about you guys, right? So being in that room, seeing the body language, seeing all the different things, and being able to connect to the person and who that person was, and being able to give sometimes very specific advice, which can really help that person move on forward. So, like I say, I hope everybody got out of it what I did, Essa.
You know, I think people did get a lot out of it, and I think, you know, Emily talking about what they learned. You know, there was we had some real belly laughs at our event, and one of the biggest.
I didn't know laughing was allowed.
Yeah, I know, in the U.S.
We didn't permit that shit.
And I think the greatest, you know, what someone may have learned was they learned that I'm much taller in person than they expected, and that part really, you know, it just, all languages, all countries, real good experience for the event there. I think that I think everybody felt that. Do you guys agree from on the U.S. side? Yeah,
it's the first time I've ever heard you being described as tall.
I think they felt the same thing. That's how I describe myself: tall, dark, and handsome. You know, everybody knows that. Look for the guy at the airport. I do think that you're spot on. There's no substitute for being in person. And what I really enjoyed was watching the group come together and having an opportunity to build relationships with each other, and understanding that everybody's in, you know, we're all on the same path. We're all on the same road. We're at different parts of that road, and that you are not on this alone, because it can be lonely. And I think that, you know, in-person events help you grow those relationships and build friendships, and it also supports your business when you may have some struggles that happen in this business. And for Noel, this was a bit different for you because you were traveling obviously to the U.S. So, you know, this was your first time with us in the U.S. and obviously our first event. How did you see this compared to even ones that we've done before in the UK?
I've had complete withdrawal symptoms ever since. It was the whole time I was there, I just loved it. It was spending time with you two, first of all, building up to the event. Just where I can see behind you, I had my station where I was working away, and we were chatting through things and planning the last couple of stuff, which I loved those couple of days with you guys. And then moving to the hotel, going to the event, those people, I loved that couple of days, and just being with them, being there with them in the room. And as somebody's already said, it's the wee small personal discussions you can have, as well as the bigger segments, where you can just impart that wee bit of knowledge, and then somebody else chips in with something they maybe knew but hadn't shared with the group. And I just loved it. I can't wait to do it again wherever it may be. But I did like going to the US for the event, just somewhere different. The ones that we've done so far here were great, but it was nice to see a different audience and get some perspective of that side of the Atlantic. I really found that useful for myself as well. I loved it. Can't say enough about it.
I know that I'm in a unique position often because I have a chance to speak with everybody one-on-one, and everybody at the event, I had a chance to speak with them prior at some point during their journey with private label people. So that really allows me to have that opportunity and to be connected with everybody. But it really is great to have everybody involved. You know, the in-person events are huge, and not to go further with that, but not to talk about things we're not supposed to talk about or let things out of the bag. But I know there's some plans for 2025. Robert, you want to maybe hint? You know, maybe what you're the worst at hinting. So
yeah, I thought I was banned from doing that.
He started the stage up on Monday, and then he caught himself on.
Yeah, and now I'm being encouraged to do it. It's like, what's this all about? This is some sort of mad. I reckon it's like at the end of this call, there's going to be something like, "Why did you say anything?" It's like, what's going on here? This is cognitive dissonance. But for me, in terms of looking towards the next thing, the best possible time to do that is right at the end of the previous one, right? Because the feel good factor, as well as knowing what you got out of the event, is very, very fresh. Whereas whenever you leave it, say 3 months, 6 months, you forget that, right? So you've now got to be reconvinced that it's a good thing, whereas you already know that it's a good thing. And being able to plan a little bit further in advance is always good, right? And I'm not a massive one. No, I like speed, right? If anybody says anything otherwise, speak to these three guys here, and they'll definitely put you right on that point. But being able to stage certain things out, even from a planning perspective, from a financial perspective, as well as from an excitement perspective, is good, right? So if we're looking at this and we're saying, right, when's the next event? What is the next event? Kind of what does it look like? And given little pieces. Well, I kind of feel it's certainly international. I don't feel that there are two per se, right? I think it's about bringing people together and maybe a little bit more extended, right? Because I think that a lot of people inside their feedback were kind of turning around and saying, what Noel just said, I didn't really want it to end, right? So maybe extending that out, and with extending it allows us then to kind of, bring more people together, and being able to say that it's 10, 11, 12 months away. It allows us to look at the financial aspect of it and say, right, well, what, let's cut right down to brass tacks. What is this going to cost? So that therefore we can start spreading this out over a longer period of time. And then you're putting something towards it, which means that whenever you're putting something towards it every month, you kind of get that feeling of, the excitement starts to build, right? And I know I like to do that myself whenever I'm taking a vacation or a holiday. I actually don't like to pay it off in one foul swoop, right? I prefer to take it out across the hurdles. And it's not actually to spread out the payments or the financial aspect. It's so that every time I make a payment, it pings on my bank, and I go, oh yeah, I'm going on holiday, right? So I get that excitement every single month whenever the payment comes out. So I think that's about as much as I'm permitted to say, even though I'm being encouraged to say something.
Well done, Robert. Very, very good. I know.
Do you like my diplomacy? I'm a diplomat now.
I mean, I'm surprised you're not running for office. It's
well, stranger things have happened.
I think didn't the voting you just missed it. You just missed it.
I've got a picture of a guy on another screen who sort of ran for office. It's an inside joke. He sort of ran, and then he also didn't sort of run. He sort of decided that he was going into the office. Anybody inside the comments, who is the guy that's on my screen, right? He sort of ran for office, although he didn't. He just decided to run for office.
All right. Well, while that's going on, while Robert's working the chat, Emily, why don't you talk to us a little bit about what you have for us today and bring us down that path?
Yes, thank you so much. So I am excited as we see some of the ideas coming into the chat of who Robert is speaking of. I wanted to take a moment to thank everybody who had the chance to participate in our engagement contest for the for the event. So first and foremost, thank you. It was really great, again, seeing your perspective, seeing how these events made you feel, how you were able to connect with us, and also for you to be able to share that with the other individuals that weren't able to attend the event. I think it's a really great way to help everybody feel connected, regardless of how they were able to be involved. And for those that were attending to feel even more invested, to pay attention to those really special moments, whether it's, half the fun, like Joanne said, is getting there. That was one of the contests. Fortunately, not always so fun getting home in Noel's case. And then, of course, the things that we learned and the things that we were proud of during the event and attending it. That was really one of the things that I hit home with the event is, and even in a post, is nobody really knows the road that each of you individually has taken to be able to get to this moment. So continue to be proud in that and continue to push forward. So with that being said, I am excited to start announcing one of the 4 winners of the 4 contests that we will have for the engagement. So as we're breaking our own rules today and spilling a little beans, we're going to do the same for this contest. So normally on streams, when we announce contest winners, you have to be on the stream to win the prize. And because all of you that entered traveled so far to be able to see us, that's where we're breaking our own rules and making an exception for this. So if you're watching the replay and you hear your name being called as a contest winner, rest assured I will be reaching out to you. So congratulations in advance. Going forward, all contests, we encourage you to be on the streams because there is just so much value to being here. So without further ado, I do have a lot of names on my wheel of name for one of the first contests. So I'm going to attempt to share my screen because I want everybody to share in the excitement here. Let's see if this works. The entire screen. I'm going to let it go to space. Perfect. Okay. So if everybody's ready for me to draw the first winner, I want to see some engagement in the chat. Give me a great emoji. Give me, some sort of virtual drum roll so I know that I am good to get ready and click this spin button to see who's our first winner going to be.
We got Noel. He's excited.
Noel's excited. Spin, 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 Sue, yippee. Okay, perfect. That is good enough for me. So I'm going to go ahead and click to spin.
And this is from both groups, Emily? This is
for both groups, yes. So our first winner is Joanne. Congratulations, Joanne. So you are our winner for one of the 4 contests. I will be in touch with you. So what I will do is turn it back over to you, Estelle. In a couple of minutes, we can keep that excitement going and where we will choose another name for the winner. So you can only win once, though, even though there are 4 contests and you entered multiple times. So Joanne, I know you're going to be celebrating for somebody else to be able to win next. So over to you, Esso.
Very good. You can pull that screen down, Em. Just stop sharing that for now. And as we continue. Now, I know that there was a lot of topics, a lot of education that came out during the event. And, we're going to continue to use this education as we go forward. I am a little bit interested just from the people that are here that were with us. Is there anything that really stuck out from you? So while we're chatting, anything that stuck out from you that you took away? I know that Emily's been asking in circle what it was, but here sharing with the group, was there anything that you took away from the different segments and the different education that we had at the event? Maybe something that you just really has been resonating with you. For me, the Matrix Reloaded. This was something that we have talked about in the past and we have utilized. I mentioned that Emily and I had the Matrix, the Eisenhower matrix on our whiteboard for quite some time. We were utilizing it, but our spin on it here at Private Label People really has given me some clarification into maybe forcing myself to look at something that I didn't want to before, and the impact that that's had on me. The idea, do I love it and am I good at it? Those are just super impactful for me. And deciding how I handle my business going forward is going to make a huge impact, because I don't want to do things that are detrimental to my business because maybe I'm just forcing the hand on that. I don't know if that resonates with anybody or if there was anything that stuck out for anybody in the chat. You can maybe, doesn't look like anybody has anything that that they found helpful. Maybe Joanne. There you go. Joanne, the big winner. She's in. She's winning again. Just can't stop her from winning. How about you guys? Anything from you?
I think for me, one of the biggest things that was really great to see and be a part of was the sorry, you're not an entrepreneur. I know that was definitely a segment as we were preparing. We were a little nervous to bring to the group. We didn't know how everybody would react to that. But it was something that we felt was important to share because we care about where you are in your business. And sometimes it just takes another individual to help you relook at how you're moving forward in your business a certain way. And I think it was great to be able to share like our own experiences as private label business owners as well, which is something that we pride ourselves in, and have that, again, going back to that human experience, where we were in our store or in our stories, how we started and how we also handle our businesses. And there's things that we don't necessarily love doing. There's things that we're not good at doing. And what do you do in those situations? It still has to get done. So it's just about that approach that you're taking and giving. I feel like, our partners needed permission to be able to think that way. Our partners needed to be able to hear like, okay, you're fired from your business. Definitely outsource what you need to be able to get to where you need to go. Because like I said, the work still needs to get done, but how is it going to get done? So that was really big for me. If anybody in the chat really resonated with that, give me a thumbs up, because I thought that was just a slam dunk segment and has really created some great adventures for private label people as we grow.
I think it's funny that you, when you were mentioning that we were a little nervous to bring out that segment, Robert, he had a much different opinion on that. He was ready to go with that segment. He was excited about that one. What do you think, Robert?
Well, before I get into my favorite segment, I think I'll let Noel give his, just in case I say the same thing and kind of leave him stumped. So I'll pass over to Mr. Murray on this one.
I had two that I really enjoyed. Obviously, I brought a passenger with me in my bag across the Atlantic, which everybody got to meet for the first time. So I really enjoyed unveiling Mr. Wavens in all his beautiful entirety, and I really enjoyed then seeing people what they thought of it, but the initial reactions, and then sort of digging a wee bit into it, what it actually would mean, and you could see people sort of clicking in their heads. Aha! So this is going to show me exactly what, and the mentality changes as well from sales price to units, and actually what your goal is more the unit. So I enjoyed that whole segment. There wasn't one segment I didn't like, but that was one of my favorites. And also the cash flow, I kind of like that chat anyway, probably because Robert and I talk about that quite a bit. But I enjoyed that. And then sort of taking that a wee bit further in terms of expenses. I know some people got in a pretty big discussion on how to move things on, and we couldn't probably talk just as much as we wanted to about it, but expenses in a good way and what you can put through the business certainly opened up, I think, a lot of people to, oh, I didn't realize you could do that. So I enjoyed those two. Hopefully that wasn't any of the ones that Robert's about to say. Apologies if it was.
Well, you played a blinder there without this being talked about prior to the call, because I was kind of hoping that you were going to say Wavens. I kind of thought you were going to say Wavens. That's why I didn't want to say it first up. But I feel whenever you take those three things, right, you take the Matrix Reloaded, whenever we're really digging in, really honestly answering what it is that we love, what it is that we're good at. And if we take it in terms of who are we inside the business, right? And knowing who we are, not who we think we are in some airy-fairy dream-like scenario of a vision board or whatever. It's like, who are we really, right? And then whenever you bring the numbers out and Wavens comes along, it's like the first one was a right hook. The second one was a left hook. Wavens was a punch to the solar plexus, right? And I loved and I'm not some sort of sadomasochist, but I loved that serious realization of, oh, I got it now, right? And it needed the 1-2 punch to be able to describe it. And I felt a lot of people got that. Certainly from discussions with you guys, I was getting the reaction third hand. And then I saw the reaction myself. And at certain parts, the reaction it wasn't pleasant, right? But it needed to be there, right? And then being able not just to deliver the punch, but be able to deliver the smelling salts to bring people back around again and say, you need to see where you are, right? Because if you don't know where you are, and I don't think people knew where they were, right? So if you don't know where you are and you don't know who's driving the car, but you expect to get to where you want to go, we're on the wrong Google map here, right? So it's like, let's get right back down here. And then the growth that I saw from people after that point, right? It was like, let's get right back to where we are. And then the growth I saw inside the next 24 to 30 hours was fantastic. And I also feel that something else that came out of it was people's kind of acceptance that they like repetition. That's great, right? Because people sort of saying, yeah, I actually do like repetition. That's a big point. A lot of people start off by saying, no, I want something new. I want another shiny object. I want to talk about something new. And you're going, yeah, but you haven't mastered this yet. You haven't got to this point, right? And I think over the last sort of 2 to 3 months, whenever we've been good over things, sometimes ad nauseum, now people are really getting stuff, right? It's like the 5 lines of P&L, right? I've gone over and over and over and over. Now everybody knows it, right? And they've now clicked that switch into, yeah, we like repetition because that helps us cement the information, cement the education, cement the understanding of what we're talking about, which is absolutely brilliant because now all of the segments that we did at the events, we can go back over those inside this next quarter and really further emphasize them. We can go a little bit deeper, but we have to stay inside those segments. And that's something that we've agreed internally. It's like, we cannot talk about anything that we didn't talk about at the event. It's like, that's great, right? And it's especially great for every single partner inside Private Label People.
I agree. And I think that there was enormous value that came out of that for everybody. And watching people go through stuff, you know, one of the things that we did at our event was I got very honest about my experience and my understanding of PPC. And I also discussed some of the challenges that I had even about admitting it, you know, and I mentioned you, Robert, in the conversation, you know, like having to admit to you that I don't love it and I'm not good at it. You know, that was actually something that held me back. It wasn't even the fact that it was those things, but all of those things came as a profit killing mistake in my business.
And weirdly, right? And it seems odd, but we are all different people, right? This isn't like some sort of homogenized scenario where every single person is the same, right? Which is absolutely brilliant. I think there's a lot of stuff out there in society across the world that tells you that you should be all the same, right? I'll go and get my tinfoil hat here in a wee second, but I'll wear my eye patch. But it's like, we are all different. We are all different people, and we are human beings at the heart of it. It's like, you do not want to be in this position of like having to do something, right? And especially having to do something whenever you're not good at it. That's not going to be a great outcome. It's like, let's live who we are. Let's be who we are. Let's embrace the fact that we are different people inside our brains. Some people are good at some things. Some people are better at other things, right? And for me, it's like PPC. I do love PPC, right? I'm a freak, right? And also, I'm good at it, right? So it's like, yeah, this sits in my quadrant. There's other things that I hate, right? And that's the thing. I said love and hate, right? Because that's the way I am. Some people say, like and don't like. Fuck off. Love and hate, right? I'm good at it, and oh no, I'm slightly less good at it. No, I suck at that, right? And there are areas of stuff that I hate and I suck at, right? So I need to delegate those. I need to get those off onto somebody who actually loves doing them and is actually really good at them.
Well, having our conversation about this, and then to go take that a little bit further, it gave people permission. Emily mentioned this, to maybe take a look at themselves and say, okay, I don't have to be good at every seat in my business. And if you want success, then you have to be not only good, you have to be great at every seat in your business. There's no room for making mistakes. There's no, you can't just be bad at one area of and expect success. And I think that was a huge part of it. And I think to take that a little further on what you just said, Robert, about your love for PPC, your knowledge for PPC, is that when you really do describe that in depth, the question then becomes, can you do that? Can you do what Robert just said? And can you implement that tomorrow and beyond? If the answer is no, then maybe we should look at that. And I don't mean just we could stumble through it. I mean, could you implement that to the level that Robert could do that? Because that's the type of help our products need. And imagine if that's the type of help that your products got. That just changes the complexity, and it changes the future of those products. And I think that part is, we've understated that in the past, but I think that message is getting clearer. And what's nice is we did discuss how we're going to take this further and into education for the rest of Q3. So expect more of the same, more of this conversation. Continue that.
I think it's like can you implement that task the way that person, right, that you're looking towards can perform that task because they love it and they're good at it. Can you emulate the way that they do that while you don't love it or you're not good at it? Come on, you gotta be honest, right? It's like my wife's ability to hide things on me in the house is second to none, right? It's like, but also I can look at that and say I suck at looking for things, right? I look for things like a man, right? I'm quite happy to admit that. I don't even look for things. I scan areas. I don't even look. I want it to jump out and hit me, or at least make itself known. I will not move anything where it might be hiding behind. I likely also won't move into another room or try and backtrack where it might be. I just want it to be in my peripheral, or not even peripheral, but just in my complete front vision, right there. That's where I want it to be.
The way I see it for you, Robert, is that if you think of something, you look at your hand and you wonder why it's not in your hand.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I then sort of look and go, yeah, somebody's hidden this on me.
Yes, that must be. The only exception. That is the only possible explanation here. Yeah. But before we go any further, Emily, are you ready to go with another round here?
Oh, yes, I sure am, because we are not hiding out on our prizes or our ability to deliver. So I'm going to get the wheel of names back up. And I'm going to need a countdown from USO. All right. Start at 3, get to 1.
Oh, those are difficult numbers. 3, 2, 1. Spin it. There we go.
All right. Congratulations is going to be in order. Drum roll, please. Sue. Congratulations, Sue. We have a winner. So
we have people that are on the call.
Yes, which is even better. Yes. So exciting. We get to celebrate with you in person.
I know that'll make Robert happy.
Yes, it will. So congratulations, Sue. Perfecto. So I'll hand that screen back over to you. So we got 2 down, 2 more to go. So far, we have 2 U.S. winners. I'd love to be able to see a Germany winner in there as well. So anything will happen the next couple rounds.
That's pretty hard to make me happy, isn't it? So it's amazing today.
It's amazing today. We're just crushing. We're just crushing it. And Sue is a Canadian winner and a U.S. winner. So we were international also, even though we didn't have that same exact feel. That's how we go international here.
This is true. Thank you for correcting me. Yes.
You can spend 3 days in the car driving west, and you'll still be in the United States. So it's a little bit different over here. Very well traveled.
I was going to say something quite sort of offensive there, and now that I've announced that, I have to say it.
You have to?
It's like, yeah, America, Canada, all the same thing.
You know what, Robert? I actually, this is due to
this is left the stream.
Yeah,
right, due to our lack of understanding.
This is how we get engagement in the chat box.
That's right.
You've literally got to offend people.
Well, what I was going to say was that's like us here, our worldly, U.S. people saying that the Northern Ireland
Don't say it.
is Southern Ireland.
Yeah, exactly. So we're just fighting back here. We're just fighting back.
Well, we also did talk about dumping all the tea into the harbor at the U.S. event. So.
I may have mentioned that. I may have
just once or twice.
Once or twice, yeah, for sure.
It was like you guys put ice in tea. It's like that's a hanging offense.
Yeah, no, we do that on purpose. It's literally to grind it in. We're really just trying. Not only are we going to dump it in the river if we have a glass, we're going to put sugar and ice.
Yeah, Canadians, as Patrick says, Canadians are better because they use the metric system.
Listen, we have it we want to make no sense and be, and just stand out and make, although I do have to say, and I've talked about this with you guys in Northern Ireland, I don't understand how you use it sometimes and then you use the imperial system. It makes me very confused.
Yeah, we're certainly myself and Noel. I think I speak for Noel here. We're the generation caught between, right? So it's kind of like imperial was the system, metric is the system. We were the forgotten generation.
But then again, you have to admit that the US, they sometimes use both as well. It just depends if they're reaching for something in particular, where they go and they use the other system they used to,
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
The 9 mils.
Yeah. Well, when Noel was in the vehicle with us, we actually were discussing the imperial and metric, and I mentioned that my speedometer has kilometers on it. My car has never seen a kilometer, so I don't know why it's there. But when I was in your car, I think, Robert, yours did not at the time. It only had miles per hour, which made it even more confusing to me.
Yeah, it's all completely up the left. Yeah. But there is definitely there's a learning experience in there, because remember as well, like every single person here is going global, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not just, the easiest example to use is the metric and imperial system, right? Simply because America's a big country, it's a global powerhouse in terms of GDP, and they do use the imperial system for the majority of things, and the majority of the other countries in the world, as in all of them, use the metric system, right? But it's also that thing of people will look at this and say, well, Canadians and Americans kind of speak the same language. It's English. And it's like, yeah, but there's a but there, right? And there's words, slangs, different phrases that Canadians will use for certain things, right? That Americans don't use. And there are some other spelling scenarios as well, right? So they have that the same as here in the UK, where we're using international English rather than American English. So there's definitely that. There's other slang words and different phraseologies that are going to be used in the United Kingdom. And then you go into the likes of Europe, where the language is now changed, right? So we're going to have to go and find certain things, test certain things out. And okay, the words look different, but the characters look the same, right? Now you take that, you move over to, say, Japan. Well, now the slang is different, the words are different, and the character set is different, right? So there are things that we should do, and it's good, busy work to be able to go and kind of research the other culture a little bit. And also the thing about it is as well, which we were encouraging people at the event to do, is speak to each other, right? And we're starting to see that happen more and more. I know Noel was talking about it in terms of some all reporting stuff, where partners were kind of speaking to each other and saying, oh, you go here and you click this. This is what we're trying to, harbor inside here. But also it's like, if you've just started selling in Canada and you're from Britain or Europe or whatever, There's Canadians in the group. I'm sure they wouldn't mind if you pinged them a little message and say, hey, I've got a such and such. What do you guys call that over there? Right? And then you can say, you call it a what? A what? Like, for example, whenever I first heard the phrase a teeter-totter, right? I was like, right, they need to go. They need to stop with this stuff, like, right? But reaching out to each other and finding out and swapping ideas as to, words and slangs and things that people can use. This is great. It's a global audience here for a global marketplace. We should be able to use one another, help one another, communicate and collaborate.
I think that's great. I was recently speaking with somebody in Japan that was talking about going global to Canada. That's a market that they hadn't gotten into. And they asked a question of, on our listings, do we also use French? Because there is a French-Canadian population. And you know what? It was the first time actually that I had even thought of that, because no, we don't. And then yesterday I had a conversation with Noel, and I were talking about a listing. And on all of our listings, Emily and I, we use imperial and metric in all the measurements. We just double up on everything because we do go global with all of our listings, and it becomes a little bit easier to do that. But you also don't know who's looking at it from where. So this is always I agree with you, a global market, global audience, that this is a big part of what we're doing. But I think
it's quite interesting as well. Can I just share something up on screen very, very quickly here? Because I wanted just to take a bit of a poll and see who's ever done this, right? Because you're talking about Canada and then a French population. I don't know the percentage of French Canadians in the country, but also if you go to America, closer to home, there is considerable amount of Spanish spoken, right? That's like, we talk about emulating what the consumer is going to do, right? Well, what do you think, right? The consumer, if they are Spanish speaking as a primary language, what do you think they're going to do? Well, A, they're going to hit that Amazon search box with a Spanish phrase. Have you ever tested what happens if they put in your Spanish key phrase, right? Go and put it in, see what comes up. The other thing that they might do is they might be a little bit more advanced on the system, right? Go over here, right? They may have already changed this over to Espanol over here on their Chrome tab, right? It's like, go and test these things out. This is good busy work. I know we weren't going to get into education today, but a little bit of hints and tips, I'm sure, are always appreciated.
Oh, they are. And I think that, as we continue to grow and educate, I describe Robert oftentimes as the person that likes to look behind the door that says employees only. And I feel that that's what you do on every website that you've ever gone on to. You just always clicking behind something. And, it's that interest level that you have. And this goes back to maybe the post yesterday, which is, I get to do these things. I don't have to do all these things. I get to expand myself and get excited and try new things. And I really think that that's a huge part of what we do. And right now, Emily gets to pick a new winner. Is that correct?
Yes, I sure am. And I'm going to throw my screen up. So best of luck to everybody that is still in it to win it. And I am going to ask for Noel's help. So Noel, can you give me a bit of a drum roll, please? So that way I can get started.
Okay.
Okay. There we go. Drum roll. Perfect. Let's see. Round and round we go. Oh, congratulations to Ricardo. So, Ricardo, I don't think you're on the call today, but I have to say I absolutely loved all of your posts that you had. It was so incredible that you really took in this opportunity to experience the culture, but also making sure that you celebrated everything that you learned as well. So I thought that was great. Congratulations for Ricardo.
Well done, Ricardo. I put a GIF in the chat just to recognize Ricardo as the winner. That's awesome. I think one of the funny things, and I'll try not to call names out, but one of the funny things was he posted, because you were asking everybody to post their journey through Circle and all those kinds of things, and Ricardo posted an event, right? It was like a concert or some type of event, and someone mentioned, I'm not going to mention names, is that the private label people event? And there was like 1,000 people. And I was just like, yes, that is us. That's our opening act. We're just getting ready to warm up, which I thought was,
hey, if let's build it up a little bit for what we have coming in 2025. It very well could be. Anything's possible.
I do. I think that what we're doing and where we're going with this is great. So I know that we have one more winner we're picking today before we close it out.
Yes.
Is that correct? All right.
Yeah, we do. What do you think, guys? Should I just go into it? Let's just go ahead, get that fourth winner announced. I want to see some engagement in the chat. I want to see some gifts, some emojis, whatever you want. While I wait for you, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I want to see everybody excited.
We're trying to stay on time today, guys.
Yeah.
You know how good we are at this.
Okay. I don't know if anybody's excited for the fourth winner.
I don't think so. Everybody's got their fill.
I am. I'm waiting on it.
That's good enough for me then. Perfect. All right.
Paul was sitting there glued to the screen. I think he was excited.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. Okay. There we go. Now it's coming in. More winners. Oh, Elmo. I love that, Gatry. I love that. Okay. Perfect. So, all right, guys, this is our fourth winner, but please remember everybody is a winner that is a part of Private Label People. This is just a little something for you sharing your experiences with the in-person event. So round and round the wheel of names goes.
What happens if it's somebody who's already won? Does it go to another spin?
It would have, and we have a winner, Colin B. So congratulations, Colin. Don't believe that you're on the stream either, but great job. Loved seeing your posts as well too. And I think this is great because we have two winners that attended the East Aurora event and two winners that attended the Germany event. So there we go. That worked out well. So congratulations, guys. I will be in touch with all of you regarding what the next steps looks like and getting those prizes out to you. So thank you so much for letting me hijack a little bit of the all training stream. I know that this was really important to all of us to be able to see this engagement. And again, I really appreciate the engagement that we have inside of Circle. Always like to say what you put into this is what you get out of it. And you never know who else you are inspiring on your journey as well. So want to make sure that I'm including that little plug, what Robert was talking about. This is the perfect opportunity for us to all come together. We no longer have that excuse to say that this is a lonely business. It is the opportunities to connect and to have that camaraderie and support are there if you take advantage of it. So please take advantage of it and really lead by example. If that's what you want to see, continue to be active inside of Circle, especially the What I Learned space. So I really want to see that that space taken to the next level because I think there's so much that we can all learn from each other.
I think too as well, it's looking at this and saying for me, there's a level of excitement now to the next event, which is going to be on a bit of a countdown. And I think a lot of other people inside the group here are going to be feeling exactly the same thing. So it's making sure that we have reached out and we're making that commitment early to say we're going regardless of what it takes, right? I'm going to do this. It's something to really look forward to. And all I will say is it's like nothing that's ever been planned before, right? This is very cool, very exciting. The finer details will be put on it, but you've got to make sure that you're reaching out and saying, I'm going, right? You can reach out to Emily on email, right? Or inside the group. And it's like, I'm going no matter what. And I want to know details straight away, right? Because as well, we don't do the whole scarcity, urgency scenario. And it's like, but it's like, if every single person inside this community wanted to go, it won't work for us, right? So we do have to put a number on it, right? It's because we've made that thing where speaking with 50 or 60 people, it doesn't work, right? You don't get the level of one-to-one. You don't get the level of specific, right? You don't get that level of being able to take on some workload and actually go and do it. So we do have to set a limit to it for many reasons, right? And all those reasons are very, very genuine, so that every single person gets out of it what they want, and to a level what we are wanting to do in terms of events. So it's like, don't leave it to the last minute, right? Be committed to it, and whatever that costs, stretch it out, right? It means that we're not dropping something on you with a month or two to go, right? We're going to make sure to get that information out so that you can plan to take that time off to do whatever you need to do, as well as for the financial side of things. I just can't wait. I'd love to just turn around now and just go, right, here it is, here's the details, here's everything, here's the dates. But I'm definitely already feeling that excitement, even though we don't have a date.
Remember, it's a business expense.
Absolutely.
Business expense.
I was just going to say that, Noel. I was going to say that, you mentioned during the event that there was a really good conversation that you discussed in your segment about living through the business. And what I would say about our next planned event is it's going to be different than any event that we've done before, any event that you've been at before. I also think this is going to be one of those things that you are not going to want to miss. If you like living through the business and that conversation was something that excited you, this is next level type of thing. And it's something that you're just not going to want to miss. It's going to be talked about. It's going to be, talk about inside jokes and the connections and all of that. This is where we're gonna make that happen, and continue to think how we have, broken down and smashed down the walls to impossible questions and impossible tasks. This is us getting more creative, more initiative, and just really fantastic stuff. We're excited about what comes next. But for me, that's it for me. Emily, do you want to take us out from today?
Yes, I would love to. So thank you so much for allowing us to kind of switch up the all training stream a little bit. I think that there were some really great takeaways that we just felt were really important to just talk through. Like Robert said, this is still very fresh for us, and this is going to continue to be a theme for a lot of the topics that we're going to share throughout the next quarter, even the rest of the year, because we realized being in those rooms, having those connections, it is that important to be able to have these conversations and to be able to talk about these topics. So until then, thank you everybody for spending your hour with us today. We know your time is very valuable, so thank you so much. Thank you to Noel, Esso, and Robert for being here on the stream today, and look forward to seeing everybody inside of Circle. So take care, enjoy the rest of your day, and stay focused, guys. Bye.